Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be reviewing We Are Legion, We Are Bob by Dennis E.Taylor. This is the first book in the Bobiverse series, as there are currently 4 books out right now. I did this as part of a buddy read and a collaboration with Rose at Rosekay Reads. Rose is the only person I know of that gets excited about anything and everything book related. You can see in all of her videos, her eyes light up, she gets excited. And I would best describe Rose as a child that goes into a chocolate factory and gets excited about everything that they see around them. Rose told me about this series of books and I wasn't really sure about what they actually were. So when I had to do some research about them, I found out that the Bobiverse books are a series of science fiction novels. So this buddy read and collaboration was extremely interesting, as I knew that the books were short and I knew roughly what the story was going to be about, or I knew the general gist of the idea about the story. I went into this book with completely the wrong expectations about it. I had a idea about it in my mind, and I went into that book with them expectations, and what I got was completely different than what I imagined the book to actually be, if that makes sense. And in that way and in that sense, it let me down. It got me a bit disappointed in the book. There was a time when we were about halfway through the book in our collaboration, and Rose was extremely enjoying the book immensely, and I was struggling to read this book, to tell you the truth. I thought the characters were okay, and I found the story to be confusing, and I actually said to Rose, look, I'm just going to go back to the start and reread this novel from page 1, and I'm glad that I did, as I picked up a lot more details in my reread of the first half of the book. Nothing major, but only small details that I didn't know about the characters and the situations and the world. But overall, my thoughts of the book are extremely mixed. If you are a fan of this book and this series, please don't get me wrong. I liked this book as a whole, but my feelings for it are fairly mixed. I have negative and positive things to say about this book, so please keep that in mind. So while I'm telling you guys what the story is all about, which I will do in a minute, I am going to highlight what my expectations were for this novel, or what I thought a specific section was going to be about, and what the book actually turned out to actually be, if that makes sense. I'm going to do this because I want to make sure that no one goes into this book with the expectations or thoughts that I had and come away disappointed in this book. Because this book really isn't that bad, so don't get me wrong, but it wasn't great either. I will also put a link down in the description, a link to Rose's channel and to her collaboration video. I would really appreciate it, guys, if you went straight over to her channel right after you watched this video and subscribe to Rose's channel, watch her collaboration video, send her loads of comments. She is extremely friendly, and she's just a really nice girl. So before I tell you guys what the story is all about, usual things here, spoiler free, and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this book. Just to echo what I said at the beginning, if you are a fan of this series and of this book, please don't get me wrong, I didn't hate this book, but I just had mixed feelings about it. So this is going to be a more, think about it as a more critical analysis of We Are Legion, We Are Bob. So the story opens up by introducing us to Bob, who is our main character. Bob is a human being, and he is living on Earth, and at the time the book opens up in either Las Vegas or Los Angeles, can't remember which one. Bob is, or was, the owner of a software company. He's just sold his company to one of his rivals, and in doing so he's actually acquired a lot of money. And as a result of this, he is splurging and treating himself to all the luxuries that life has to actually offer. And one of these luxuries is to have his head frozen in the event of his death, and in the future they will unfreeze his head and grow his body and try to find a cure about what actually killed Bob originally. So Bob is a very intellectual man. He is his humour is very dry, and he's very sarcastic as well. He's a massive nerd. He goes to conventions at the beginning of this book, and he's massively into Star Trek and Star Wars. But Star Trek is constantly, from start to finish, referenced throughout this book, constantly. And I'm a massive Star Trek fan myself. Live long and prosper. But it seems a bit much at at times. But if you haven't watched the series before, despite what one it is, then you'll come across a term that you won't know what it is, but it won't affect your general appreciation of the story. Anyway, Bob gets into a car accident which actually results in his death. This isn't a spoiler, it's mentioned in the synopsis of the book. So many years ago, or many years in the future, about 117 years in the future, Bob wakes up and he's not sure what's happened to him. He's very disorientated, and he looks around the room as best as he can, and stuff feels weird to him. His perspective is different. He sees things in a very weird way. And when he comes to, he finds out, he's actually told by a doctor there that while he's actually been dead, the world has been taken over by a very religious society. The government's very, very religious now, and God and faith and religion and is not a massive part of the book, but that's the core role of this government. As a result, Bob is actually now the property of a company, and he is now a property, and he's actually owned by a company. And they've actually put his mind. They've actually downloaded his mind into a computer program. So Bob isn't a flesh and bone human being anymore. His consciousness, his memories, his thoughts, his emotions, to a certain extent, have all been downloaded into a computer program. He's actually found out that several people have actually done this, and that this has happened to several people. And he is in competition with them. And they're constantly referred to as being replicants. And they're constantly looked down upon by the company that actually owns them and by their government. We don't know anything about the other replicants that Bob is in competition with. We only know their names, and then that's it. But Bob ultimately becomes the winner of this competition, and he is actually downloaded into a probe which is sent off into space. And his mission is to catalogue and find habitable planets for human beings to coexist on and to live on if something happens on Earth. Because I believe that Earth isn't really in the best of situations right now. Bob, I was actually thinking that Bob was actually going to be a kind of a voice on a massive spaceship that was actually going to be filled with human beings and aliens, kind of like the Enterprises, and Bob was going to be like the overall voice of this spaceship, and it was going to coexist with other real life human beings and aliens and all that type of stuff. But I didn't get that. Bob isn't with anyone else in this spaceship or probe. I'm just going to call it a spaceship. He's the only person on this spaceship, and I was thinking that he was going to be a voice, like a voice on the speakers of the ship, but he actually has the ability to make himself like a virtual reality or an avatar of himself. I mean, isn't real. He's actually not like he's a solid person or a solid matter. He is a hologram. But he has the ability to change the environments on his ship to actually suit his needs and his personality. And he creates a cat called Spike, who is very adorable. It's very weird that I like cats when, in both in books and in real life, but I don't really like to actually stroke any cats. Spike is okay. Spike isn't like a talking animal. He's just like a standard cat. That we find out that Spike was a real cat from the original Bob's life that actually died in his past. And this copy of Bob isn't the real Bob that isn't the real Bob that we saw at the beginning of this book. This Bob that is a hologram is a copy of Bob. He has all the emotions and the memories of Bob, but he isn't the original Bob, if that makes sense. He is a copy, and that's what he actually is. There is a moment in this book where he questions about why he isn't freaking out, and he's actually been told that some of his emotions have been suppressed. But him being intelligent and being a software engineer, he overcomes this, and he does have emotions. Even though Bob isn't real, he is a real person. He has feelings. He has emotions. He is very intelligent. He can problem solve. He's actually just like you and me, but he's just a hologram. And Bob has the ability to copy himself throughout this book. Throughout this book, we don't see many human characters throughout this book. It's mostly copies of Bob. And Bob, it's very important that you actually understand this. When Bob copies himself, he actually looks exactly like himself, but his personality and his appearance, well, not appearance, like how she dresses and his personality is different, but how he looks is exactly the same. Like some of the Bobs may be shy, some of them may be like all guns blazing and like a hero type of figure. Some of them may be very timid, and some of them may be like really like a real Joker type of character, if that makes sense. And all the Bobs, they actually give themselves unique names that are names specifically for them. So we have Bill, we have Homer, we have Riker, which is the same character in the Star Trek, the Next Generation show. And all the Bobs, they can appear to be human beings, but they can also choose to be cartoon characters. They can choose to be anything that they want to look like, but they have the same memories as the original Bob and the first copy of Bob. And all these copies, they go off into different sections of space and to explore the galaxy and to try to find habitable planets throughout the universe. But while they're doing this, we discover that there are other crafts out there, other spaceships from different sections or countries on Earth that are trying to attack Bob and his copies. The main villain of this story is a country of Brazil, who are constantly trying to shoot him down and to try to destroy Bob and his copies. They actually do have loads of battles in this book, and it does get really exciting at times. And throughout this book, Bob is constantly copying himself to an insane degree, and it's not just the original Bob that can only do this. Other copies of Bob can copy themselves and multiply. Like Riker can copy himself, Homer can copy himself, and just because Riker can copy himself. Riker is, for example, is he's a very fierce leader that actually makes hard choices throughout this book. And yes, he does make enemies, and he is a bit unlikable throughout this book. For me anyway. His copy can be completely different than Riker himself. And even at the end of the book, when the book is about to end, we are introduced to new copies of Bob. And this can be a bit overwhelming and because you want to have more characters that are just Bob copying and pasting himself. But I didn't really mind it. I got used to it as the book went on, and I even got used to all the Star Trek references throughout this book as well. So that's the general gist of this story. Hopefully I've done it justice. I wanted to be a bit vague, as there are some plot points in this book that some of the Bobs do go on. They go on all these quests and adventures, and I didn't really want to talk about them in depth or at all, because I didn't want to spoil the book for you. Because me and Rose are going to be reading the entirety of the Bobiverse books, even Heaven's River, which has recently just come out, and the next book that we're going to be reading is the second book, which is called For We Are Many, which we will be reading at the beginning of March. So in that video, I will be able to talk about what some of the Bobs were doing in this book in more detail. So let's go straight over to Rose now, where she'll be telling you all the things that she liked and disliked about this novel.
Hello, David's viewers. It is so nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much, David, for letting me be here. It is truly an honor. If you don't know already, my name is Rose. I'm from Rosekay Reads, and I'm here talking about my likes and dislikes of this book, We Are Legion, We Are Bob, the Bobiverse, #1. So I'm going to keep this short and concise. We got a visitor. Hello, Jinkies. So let's start with my dislikes about this book. This book can get swept away a little bit in its explanations of scientific fact. And while I didn't have a problem with them, I didn't understand really anything it was saying. So that kind of slowed it down barely to me. But as you'll see in my review, not that much. Another dislike for me was just how short it was. It was just such a quick read. Like, I mean, this is Bobiverse. It's gonna have 4 books that I'm gonna be able to dive into and love every single one of them, probably. So this isn't really something that I have to be upset about at all, because I'm gonna have more content. So now let's get into my favorite part, the positives. I love this book. It was so much fun. It was quick, fast-paced, witty, charming, lighthearted, fun. I just really could not get enough of this book. I really did not know where the storyline was going after the first initial loop that the character goes through with the battling of Russian whatever spaceship. I was like, is it gonna be battle based? Is it gonna be this based? The answer is yes, yes, and yes to all of this. This book utilizes different character POVs to achieve its goal of being fun and carefree. Really, it's so good. Please buy this book. Please read this book. I loved it. So that's my short, tiny little review. Thank you so much, David. And back to you.
So when it comes to what I'm going to rate this book, I was going to give it a 3.5 stars, but I am going to give it, I'm actually going to be fair, and I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 5 stars. Again, don't get upset if you're a die-hard fan of this series or of this book. I enjoyed it, but I wanted to be fair with myself and with you guys, and I wanted to give you my honest opinion. And a 3 stars is a solid rating. So in conclusion, this was a really interesting read for me. I didn't enjoy it as much as Rose did, unfortunately. I did try. In fact, I did tell you that I went back and after reading the first half, and I went back to the book, to page 1, and read the whole thing again. And I did appreciate this book for what it was, and even though I did struggle a lot with it, for the reasons I've just said in this video, but after I actually read the book, I watched numerous videos online about it and different reviews for this novel. And while I was listening to several people talking about it, it made me think about characters and events that happened in this book. And it made me think, maybe I did enjoy this book more than I originally thought I did. Maybe I did enjoy these characters or at least some of them, more than I thought I did. And it made me think maybe I did overly appreciate this book for what it was trying to do. It's not as complicated as something like Dune, and it does try to be as, sometimes it does feel like it's trying to be funny, like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But my recommendation, if you're trying to read this book, or if you want to read this book, is to go into it thinking that it's going to be a light-hearted read. It's going to be a quick read, and with a load of Star Trek references in it. But try to appreciate it for what it is, and hopefully I've highlighted some of my, I wouldn't say issues with the book, but some of my false expectations for it, and hopefully I've encouraged you to actually give it a chance. So that's it, guys. That is my review on We Are Legion, We Are Bob by Dennis E.Taylor. If you've enjoyed this video as a whole, please give it a like, comment down below. Let's talk about this book, guys. Let's talk about the, I mean, if you read it, let's talk about the story, let's talk about the characters. Let me know who is your favourite Bob. My personal one is Bill, as I felt that he was more grounded than anything else. And these sections were more comfortable and relaxing to actually read. If you like this book, that is great. If you didn't like this book, that is also great. Let's have a conversation down below about it. If you enjoyed this book, let's just have a conversation about it down actually below, guys. If you have enjoyed this video as a whole, please consider subscribing to my channel, as it helps out so much. If you do subscribe, please click on the bell notification just so it reminds you about whenever I upload videos, which are every Monday and Friday. I will also put a link down in the description to my Goodreads account in case you want to follow me on Goodreads. And just to echo back, I will be putting a link down there as well to Rose's channel, which will take you right to her page. Please go over there right now, subscribe to her channel, I would really appreciate it once again, and watch her collaboration video on We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And yeah, and so with all that said, have a great day, read some awesome books, and I will see you all in my next video. And if you've been watching my videos for a while now, you know that I usually look here when I'm doing my videos, but I recently got a sticker in a mystery box thing that I got from eBay, and I've been using this. I've actually stuck it up near my lens on my phone, so it gives me something to actually look at. So hopefully this looks better to you guys. I'm trying to do the best I can with the stuff I've actually got at hand, so it makes my videos look better. So hopefully you enjoy this new thing that I'm doing on my channel.